Alright guys, welcome back. I had someone comment about the triple res build uh, for Project Diablo 2 here on the paladin. I've tried it before in other mods and in PD2, and it's not horrible. However, it's really not that great either, and it's extremely expensive. So that's why I kind of just I don't consider it a viable option. But of course, it is something you could do. So the benefits of this build are that it's going to be doing all three elemental damages as well as physical damage. So you're really never going to come across any immunity issues. So that's one of the major strengths of this build. That's kind of the only strength of the build. So let's take a look. It also requires you to be like max level for you to get all your synergies. So keep that in mind. You want 1 point in each of these, and then you want to max salvation for sure, and then blessed aim, and then after that you can start maxing um, the different resists. So you can see I'm level 99. I have 1 point left after maxing all the synergies and getting 1 in my combat skills. So realistically, you're going to either pick one aura, and I would probably do resist lightning, because out of the 3 baseline, resist lightning will probably do the most damage. So I'd max that one first, and then probably cold, and then fire last. That's just what I would do, but keep that in mind. This is like a very end of game build, like complete the game build. And with your final point, you can put it wherever you want, but I'm just gonna leave it like that for now. So the idea is, you're still gonna be zealing, you're still gonna be using Joust to jump around, you're still gonna be charging. You're gonna be running Salve Aura, so you're going to be capped on resistances. So without Salve on, you can see we're pretty poo-poo. Put it on, all 3 are gonna go up. Now the issue with this is that you don't get any poison res from any of your gear, so you need to have at least whatever this is, we'll say 3, so at least 7 perfect poison resist charms, and that's assuming you have a perfect torch and a perfect Annie. So realistically, you're not going to have that, so all these charms are going to have to be poison. So keep that in mind. We want to have about 150 strength or so, and you get a bunch from dragon as well, so that's fine. You want your dex to be up so you can block well, and you want the rest in vitality. You have a lot of attack rating with this build because you're maxing blessed aim, so you're getting 10% passive attack rating per base level there, so that's cool. And in light of that, I chose to go with the Defiance Merc so that we have more defense. We don't have Defiance Aura on right now. If you come over here, you'll see, once we're, buffed up, our defense is quite higher with this guy around. So that's going to help a lot because the build is pretty weak in terms of survivability. So that's one way to make it better. Let's take a look at the gear. So the gear is very, some pieces are definitely, like, you have to use a Doom. So in PD2, Doom can be in a Phase Blade, which is really helpful because Paladins using Berserker Axes just suck. I don't know how else to put it. It's just the attack speed you need to hit the cap is really high, and they break a lot. Like, they literally break like in one map. You'll have to repair it. So this costs you a ton of gold. And as you know, if you're playing the PD2, gold is like not a joke because you need gold for re-rolling your maps. So having not a Phase Blade is going to just cost you a ton of high runes over time. So even though it does a little bit more damage, I wouldn't do it. The range on the Berserker Axe is 1 more, which makes your charge really awkward. Phase Blade is just the best weapon for Paladin all around. So Doom has the Holy Freeze aura. So these aren't very big auras. Okay, level 12. So they're fully synergized, but they're by no means powerful auras on their own. Interesting thing though, Doom gives you 2 to all skills, which will help a lot. It's got a lot of attack speed on it. You only need 54 to hit the max with a Phase Blade, so we just need one other source of attack speed to hit the cap when using a Doom, so that's really nice. Doom also has a lot of a lot of Cold Pierce. You see, Cold Pierce is 56. That's quite high. Gives us 20% deadly strike, open wounds, prevent monster heal, and freezes target. So it has a lot of stuff going for it. So yeah, Doom for sure. And then there's some options. The only thing for sure is the Doom. And I would say the Wisps. You want dual Wisps so that you have you want physical damage from this guy. So your enhanced damage is quite low. So having a high level Heart of the Wild Heart of the Wolverine is really integral to the build. And of course, you want all skills for boosting salve damage. So after that, there's a couple different setups. The one that is the best, in my opinion, is Dream in the helm, Dragon in the shield, and then a 4-socketed perfect Ormus robe, if you can get a 4-socket. Now, before I made this video, not kidding, slammed 333 Ormus robes trying to get a 4-socketed one, and I just gave up because it was literally a half an hour of slamming. 334 Ormus robes. Didn't get a single 4-socket. Now, I've done this before multiple times with Ormus robes because trying to get a 4-socketed one to test things out is like a lot of builds would benefit from it. So, if let's say Ormus robe perfect is like and I'm taking 15, 15, 15 because for our build it actually matters. Most of the time you just want to get an Ormus robe with whatever your element is, right? So for us though, having 15 of each is actually super important. So let's take a look. Like World Storm shards. Let's say they're 0.01 HR, right? So they range from that to 0.2. So this times 333, and I didn't even get one, right? So that's 3.3 high runes right there, just in slams. So you can, give or take, right? You might get lucky, you might not, or it might be all the way up to 500 slams before you get one. And then each Ormus robe along the way, let's say half of them become worthless, but you got to pay for them. So a perfect Ormus robe, clean is probably going to be ist, I'd say, at least. So 0. And that's a conservative. Like if you can get them for ist, you're probably doing really well, right? So that's 49 high runes right there. So if you can get a 4-socketed perfect Ormus robe and you're paying less than 50 high runes, I think it's a steal, to be completely honest with you. Having that one extra socket over the 3 is not going to make or break this build, but that's the best it can be, right? So at least a 3-socket. Now I got about 5 or 6 3-socketed on my way trying to find them, so they're 1 in 100, I'd say, or maybe 1 in 50 chance of a 3-socket. You could also try to get 1 to all skills and then puzzle box, but that would be worse and also more expensive. So anyway, Dream, we get the Holy Shock here. We're gonna have Confuse on proc, which is nice. You get a bit of all resist here, and some magic fine, max life. It's a decent helm. Dragon, we get the venom on striking, so we are doing poison damage too. You get the Holy Fire aura and some strength, but really it's a pretty crap shield when you take out the Holy Fire aura. And then, if you want to go max elemental damage, right, which I've tried, it's not any better, but you want to go this setup, right? Tier Haunch, a Seraphs, with probably a 2+1, an Arachnids, and then the dual Pierce. Now the issue here is we're not at the attack speed cap, and if you look at our damage, with Zeal. Let's keep it on Zeal. It's 2.2 to 8.4. If we switch out to the physical damage items that are actually going to help us, we lose nothing in terms of damage. Our overall damage goes up. You see we're at 8.6 now, and the difference is that now we have life steal and mana steal from the soul drainers. We're also getting physical pierce a little bit, which is great. We're getting more deadly strike. We're getting mana after each kill, which helps a ton. We're getting slow target. Well, we had that from before, but that's fine. We're now definitely at the cap. We're way over the cap, so that's fine. We're also getting some more lightning damage on hit, and important here, we're nearing the deadly strike cap. And also with the Gore Riders, now we have some crushing blow, and so now we're more well-rounded, and also just more survivability. So this is the setup I think is the most damage. I did try this thing with 2 of each faucet. It's just not as strong because the Ormus has 15%, so it's just not as strong and not worth it. You could also double up on one thing here, like you can see that if you go double dragon, right? You go, so that's a slight improvement. However, when we go double dragon, we lose all our pierce and we lose a lot of our elemental damage. So all that's happening is our fire damage is doing more, but everything else is getting weaker, like significantly weaker. You can also run the double dream. Now with the double dream, the top end goes really high because of the lightning damage scaling, but our low end goes down quite a bit. So I don't think dueling up on any of these is the play. I firmly believe that the Ormus robe is the most well-rounded if you can get the 3-socket corrupted one. So those are all your different options. You're always going to want to use large charms. So I tested this with defensive auras. So if you look here, we're at 15% LE damage. If I add the defensive aura skillers, we gain 4% to each LE, which is the equivalent of having 1.5 of each large charm. So, and it doesn't increase our all resist anymore either. So going these is not a good idea. What you want is the large charms, which are also getting buffed in Season 5. They're going from 3% to 4%. But basically, you can have 5 of each, which will give you, up to 15% of each skill. So that's what I've simulated here. And also I've simulated slamming cannot be frozen somewhere in here. So that's the charm situation. That's the gear, and that's kind of it. So let me show you how it plays. We're first going to just go do Chaos Sanctuary. And of course, yeah, Call to Arms and Haas on the swap. Alright, so Zeal damage is 2.5 to 9, and we're using the setup I told you about with the physical damage. And you're gonna see, like, we do kill stuff. It's not like, Chaos Sanctuary is not really a benchmark for how good a build is, but I just wanted to show you, the build is, it's not weak. So you can use it to play the game. However, you'll see that for the amount of high runes invested in this, you would expect to be, going a little bit faster. Now, Chaos Sanctuary has a lot of fire immunes. It has a lot of lightning immunes and some cold immunes. So it's a good gauge of, okay, I have this tri-elemental build, but in reality, like, am I actually doing any damage when I come across things that are immune? And the answer is yes, you do. Also, you get cursed in here, so it's a good way to test, realistically, because you're gonna be getting cursed a lot in maps. So yeah, like, it's not terrible, but I at the same time it's not great either, as you can see. The sheet damage is like pretty low, 2.8 to 9k. Is not very good on a paladin at least. But yeah, so this is a guy. Okay, so as you see, 2 immunities, doesn't matter, we get through it. So that's chaos. I'm not gonna do anymore. It's pretty obvious. And I'll do a map now. So you can see the cows take a few zeals to kill, which, for an endgame build, that should not be the case. You want to be pretty much one-shotting these things, or two-shotting. And cows have no immunities, so this is the max damage this build will ever do. I've got Infinity running too, so they're like, you can see it's okay, but it's by no means something you want to do. Now, if you like the idea of never having to worry about any immunities, this build definitely will do it for you. However, the Sanctuary build does more damage, is way cheaper, and has the exact same effect. With the Sanctuary build, you never have to worry about any immunities because there aren't any magic and physical immune mobs in the game. They just don't exist. So try to find a big clump here. You do get, it is nice. My holy shield ran out. It is nice having all 3 auras because you get the slow and your radial tick. I'll show you the radial tick is like okay, but you're not going to be killing stuff with it. Not like Dragon did, where you can just stand there and actually kill stuff. So this is as good as it gets. Now, of course, you might be saying, why aren't you using Vengeance? So you would think Vengeance would be really good, but obviously in Season 5 when they do the Vengeance rework, you'll probably want to be using Vengeance with this build because it just chains and AoEs. It's like a better skill, but the Vengeance elemental damage, you know how it says it carries your elemental damage? The damage you get from Holy Shock or Holy Freeze or Holy Fire does not, like, you know how it adds like LE damage to your autos? That damage does not get added to Vengeance, and it doesn't get buffed by Vengeance's elemental damage percentage. Only stuff from gear like High Lords where it says 1 to 300. Only that type of damage will get buffed by Vengeance. So you would think it would be a really good application, but it's just not. So, and obviously Vengeance's sheet damage is higher because it just does more damage than Zeal, right? Because it's adding all this stuff. It's not much higher. It's like 700 higher. But yeah, that's the build. I don't recommend it though. I think it's a very weak build and it's a very expensive build. Um, Nos is not cheap. Wisps are not cheap. Perfect Soul Drainers are not cheap. This is an Ohm, a Low, and a Cham, so that's definitely not cheap. This is a Ja, so that's kind of cheap, but not really. And this is a Sur Low, so that's expensive. All of this is expensive. Having an infinity on your mark is extremely expensive. So it's a very expensive build, and it's just not. The high runes could be used better elsewhere. Is what I'm saying. So that is that. I'll end it here.